What are some of those, I guess, questions or things to be thinking about in the first handful of dates to try and determine is this a good fit, worthy of investing the time up to, say, 6 months to then kind of work out, is it something that could lead to a very serious relationship?
Well, the first thing, and this is going like really early, are you feeling good about the flow of how this is progressing? If you're someone who likes to be pursued, are you feeling pursued? If you're someone who likes to pursue, are you feeling like those advances are being, received? Are you a communicator, and is this person openly and honestly communicating with you as well? What do you know about their family? How do they talk about their ex? Do they talk about their ex? Are they over their ex? Are they going through a divorce? Like, what do they, if they have kids, what's their relationship like with their kids? Oh, they're estranged from their kids? That's strange. Why? So these types of things. I think that, of course, chemistry plays a role with just like rapport and all of that. But then, sometimes it takes a little time, and everyone has to have their own back. If you're someone who, when you have sex with someone who you like and you're really attracted to and you're excited about, that you're going to have all these expectations that like you're going to be closer with them as a result, better have that conversation with them and say, look, when I sleep with someone, my expectation is exclusivity. I don't want to be sleeping with you and sleeping with someone else, and I don't want to be sleeping with you and you sleeping with someone else. So we need to go slow and figure this out and communicate and see where we're at, because that's just what's best for me.
Mm-hmm. Are there questions that you feel are off the table in the first handful of dates?
Yeah, I think that it's unrealistic and not very couth to ask someone about like their deepest, darkest secrets and trauma in the first couple of dates, because it's none of your business. And I think that you as the bond becomes stronger between two people, that's when you start to hopefully reveal more of yourself. But I don't think you should be saying like, so tell me about your childhood trauma, like in the first couple of dates. That's weird. I think a better question is to ask, what makes you really happy? What makes you really sad? What lights you up?
Right. What do you do for fun?
What do you do for fun?
Are there questions that you think we may think are taboo and off the table, but really should be questions that we're exploring early on?
Are you looking for a relationship, or are you looking for something casual right now? What is your relationship with your ex-wife or your ex-husband? Are you close? Do you co-parent well?
What would be a red flag in terms of relationship with ex-partner?
Well, let's just say it's not a co-parenting marriage, ex-marriage. A red flag is someone who is shit-talking their ex. Because that just shows me that you haven't done any self-reflecting.
There's no ownership.
There's no ownership. Like, really? You're the victim in that?
Mm-hmm. So that could be repeated.
Absolutely. Well, it just shows, like, if you're not self-reflective about that, then I just know that you're not going to take responsibility in our relationship.
You mentioned earlier there are some very obvious red flags. Are there any others that we haven't?
Sure. Hit? Addiction. That hasn't been addressed with sobriety. That's a huge red flag. So any sort of drug or alcohol addiction that isn't, like I said, addressed with sobriety.
How do we think about, often in the first few dates or even handful of dates, people may not necessarily be presenting themselves as themselves.
Right. People lie all the time.
It might be that I'm sitting down with you for a date here, and I'm going to answer questions and create conversation in a way that I think you'll find attractive.
Yes. People are going to do that all the time.
So how do we kind of break through that so that we're not wasting anyone's time and we can actually be discerning?
Go slow. Go slow with someone. Don't start playing house with them right away because they seem perfect. Don't jump into bed with them right away. If jumping into bed with them means that you're going to get more enmeshed and close to this person, don't. Go slow. And then I think that also as we get smarter and wiser, we can kind of feel in our bodies when someone's bullshitting us. But yes, everyone is sort of like on their best behavior in the beginning. But you know what I find very attractive and what I encourage people to do is to just be really raw and real. Like that's really attractive. Like just to be kind of really honest about yourself and like things that you're kind of dealing with and facing and working on. Like, why isn't that?
That's confident.
Yes. Why exactly? Why isn't that looked at?
I think we're scared.
Yeah. We're
judgment.
Scared. Yeah. Because it's vulnerability. We don't, as a culture, we don't value vulnerability.
I know myself, and I'll get you to comment on this from your perspective, but some of those questions and exploring whether someone's a good fit or not, I find that the environment that you're in can make a big difference. So, I mean, you can sit down at casual kind of cafes or lunch type environments and have some of these conversations, but the more intimate the setting is, I often feel like there's a little bit more pressure as opposed to something that, you know, is based around an activity like going for a bike ride or going for a hike or doing pottery I recently did, where you're kind of engaged in an activity.
Did you go on a pottery date?
Yeah.
I like that.
You're engaged in an activity. Yeah. There's a bit of playfulness. There's some laughter. If you're hiking, you're kind of not just focused on the conversation between each other, but you're navigating and making decisions together.
Absolutely.
And it can allow you to, maybe the way that I feel is just bring down some of those walls and get to know someone a little bit better.
I think that's great. And I think you also need the one-on-one date and having a meal together.
A mix.
I think you need a mix. Yeah. But for sure, I think doing activities is great. It also just eliminates the whole, like, especially if it's a first date, like, I don't know, like, then you're like stuck at this dinner. I think it's great to sort of break the ice. I even think sometimes it's nice, people put, understandably, I get it, but some people put so much weight on, I'm not going to introduce you to family until I know you're the one. I'm not going to introduce you to friends until I know you're the one. And I'm thinking we learn about people when we are able to observe them relationally. And I think we get such an amazing education about someone when we are able to observe them communicating and in relationship with others. So I think that, people should lighten up a little bit about that. And I think the faster that you can meet key people in their lives, the better.